Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and today we are talking a 2019 movie starring Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. Um, it's a black and white movie as well. For a modern day movie in black and white, we are going to be talking The Lighthouse. You can see that there. I only watched this yesterday, and I tell you something, I was gripped. I don't know about the rest of the guys, so we'll go around the rest of the guys and see what their opening thoughts are on the Lighthouse. Who shall we start with? Connor. Ah,
I was hoping you'd go for me. Um, yeah, the Lighthouse wasn't on my radar until Cannes Film Festival last year, um, and I know Robert Eggers' work previously. He did The Witch in 2015, which was regarded as one of the best horror films of the decade. Um, yeah, fantastic movie, brilliant. When I first saw the first reviews out of Cannes, I was like, this is going to be really good because it's artsy, it's in black and white, as you mentioned. But what gripped me the most, and I don't know what the Academy were thinking when they didn't put this movie on the radar, was the performances by Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. Usually in a movie, you have one performance that you can say is categorically better than the other. In this, it's not the case. They're both too good. Um, Willem Dafoe puts on this amazing accent that is so genuinely like seaman. It's which seaman plays another part in the movie as well. Um, is just so incredible. Like the level of his acting and his ability. I believe he did. He talked about getting that accent and how difficult it is. Like it took some real tough, hard work to master that, but he got it down to the smallest, minute detail. Um, Robert Pattinson, who was for years and years and years and years wrote off as the Twilight guy, the sparkly vampire, um, completely shows every facet of the actor he is. If you've not seen things like Good Time, The Rover, High Life, uh, David Cronenberg's Cosmopolitan, you need to, because this guy can act and he will be an exceptional Batman. Um, he's very kind of he plays I can't pronounce his name, Winslow, that who's kind of the new guy on the Lighthouse, and he's commandeered over by Willem Dafoe, playing Wake, and Willem Dafoe is a bastard in this. Like he works Robert Pattinson to the bone, and it ends up in going into this weird kind of world of madness and all sorts of weird dreams, cabin fever style sort of stuff involving mermaids, masturbation, um, fuck knows what else. Like there's some proper killing seabirds is a massive part of this film as well. Um, I love the story. Makes absolutely no bleeding sense, but um, yeah, so gripping. I love the idea of the light being an enchanting force over Willem Dafoe's character. I think I had on the copy that I was watching, I had difficulty kind of sometimes hearing what they were saying, but I believe that Willem Dafoe's character Wake referred to the light as lass on more than a few occasions, which kind of hinted at a more than um, a relationship that's a bit closer than you'd expect, which is bizarre between a inanimate object like a light and a human being. But I like at the end how Robert Pattinson um, kind of gets access to the light finally, and it completely takes him over as well. And that scream into the light, oh my god, what a bleeding performance by Robert Pattinson. It is truly a remarkable film, and it's one of the best of last year. And it's a shame that it didn't get the award garnering that it should have, because you're not going to get many films like this, especially not now that cinemas are dying and everything's about the streaming services. This is probably, unfortunately, going to be the last of its kind. Maybe, I don't know. There might cinema might evolve to be more accepting of films like this, but you don't see films like this often. Indie films that really kind of stand out like this does. So overall, it's just such a good movie, and I'd watch it over and over again.
Cool. Well, you don't go anywhere, Connor, so you might as well. So I'm only joking. Let's go. Is Tim still with us? Let's go to Tim.
Yeah, I would agree with most of what Connor said, but I do think it makes kind of sense in a way. The second time I watched it, I noticed that you're really watching all of these events through the point of view of the Patterson character, who's Winslow, and he's insane. He's very much insane. He's hallucinating all the time. He's always seeing visions of things, and to be fair to the Defoe character, he's a bastard, but he's just doing his job. I mean, he's done this for a long time. It's his job, and he has apparently this is the second time he's had a trainee with him, basically. But it's his job to break these younger people into lighthouse keepers. He's a bit weird too, though. Like, he has his fixation on the light, like was mentioned, and he may have ended up contributing to this guy's madness, but the entire film, it's really the viewpoint of the Winslow character that you're getting, and a lot of it's, he's basically an unreliable narrator because he's mad, he's insane, and he's also a murderer. He's murdered somebody before. We see in flashbacks, and he's basically from the wrong side of the track, or what would you say? He's a bad penny. I mean, he's worse. He's kind of like a ne'er-do-well kind of character, in fact, because I mean, the job he has is pretty much spelled out for him. And yeah, it may be a bit unfair, but the other guy's an older guy, and he's basically there to supervise. And that's quite common, especially in those days. I mean, so there's just the one scene where he's dropped from the line when he's on the lighthouse or something, and you might think that's like a mean trick from the Defoe character, but I don't know. To me, the second time I watched it, I kind of see that the Winslow character, he's basically the villain, and he's really insane. And the scene you mentioned at the end with the light, just it's kind of like he's buying into Defoe's version of events, and then he dies. I mean, he falls down the staircase and dies, and suddenly he's outside and he's still alive. He's being pecked at by birds, and he's naked for some reason. It kind of doesn't add up. But I mean, it's again, you're just looking at the whole plot through the eyes of a madman. It's a very compelling film. I love the way the director used the tight television aspect ratio to make it even more claustrophobic, because that's what it is. And it has a whole cabin fever thing running through it with the daily grind and nothing but that for, weeks on end. So, and then they miss their boat, don't they? I mean, at some point, that's Patterson's fault because he's drunk or something. So they end up having to stay a lot longer. They don't know when they're going to be taken away or rescued, or could all that just be part of his madness? I don't know, because it seems like they're flooded, and then he's like, he buries the guy, and then the guy comes back and hits him with the axe, and I don't know. It's just like, it's almost like it's hard to tell what's real and what isn't. But yeah, it's a very compelling movie. It's a very good movie. You make a good point, Connor, about it being kind of a rare thing nowadays. Although I don't know if people would watch movies like this on streaming, but you're right, it is going to miss that big cinema kind of effect. So Yeah, it's an excellent film. Should have got more attention.
Totally agree with you there, Tim. Let's go to 3 left. Let's go to Susan. How's about you?
Okay, I enjoyed this movie for two reasons. One, it is incredibly, the scenery is just chewed off, like literally. It was such uh, bombastic acting by these two. Their accent is pretty quintessential Rhode Island, Maine, Massachusetts lighthouse keeper type, longshoreman, fisherman kind of accent. And they have, and their relationship is like so intimate and so devastatingly dysfunctional, and they have uh, they have so much in there's so many like supernatural or magic uh things that are happening with like mermaids and when uh Tom, the older Tom, is calling on the sea gods to kill. Oh my gosh, that I'll talk more about that because that is like one of the best moments ever. Anyway, great movie, crazy movie.
Cool. All right then. Let's go to Jake. Why not?
First of all, I had some technical issues watching this film, so I didn't actually was able to watch the whole thing, so I decided to watch it last minute, which I shouldn't have really done. But saying that, I watched enough of it to really appreciate the kind of film it was. First of all, what an ingenious decision to shoot this in black and white. Because if you watch something in black and white, the way they filmed it, you see so much more detail than what you will in a normal film. And I agree with most of the stuff Tim said. It was a great psychological fuck up, claustrophobic. Like you can see it in the shot of the film when they're both in their bunks, and you got it wasn't a wall, was it? That thing down the middle of the screen. And it's like these two people that could erupt at each other in a moment. It was amazing. And the amount of effort that the director of this film, whoever made it, I think it's the director, whatever the title is, the amount of effort he's gone into in research, the history of naval stuff, and how they speak, how they dress, how they work is so impressive. I love it when someone like this puts the effort in writing a film like this. He did it for the Vavitch. That is exactly the same, old English style speaking. And what I saw of it, which was a large chunk of it, I really bloody enjoyed it. It was really good. William Dafoe, for me, stole the film, personally. No offense to Robert Pattinson, but I think William Dafoe was the best actor too. The way he erupted at every minute, all these monologues he did, the way he was hypnotized and fucked up by the light thing in the lighthouse. It was like when I'm watching it, like Lee said earlier, you're like in a trance yourself watching it. It's helpful with all the background music and all the sounds because it zones into what you're watching. It's a very clever way of doing a film that will touch upon it in Blue Velvet as well. The sounds effects behind what they're saying zooms you into what you're watching. So that's my opening thoughts about it. It's very good.
Well, do you know, it's positivity all around here. It may stop now. Oh dear. Craig and David. Over to
Sorry, I
you.
fell off the map for a bit. I've been in lockdown. But it's nice to see everyone. And do you want to go first, Kim?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I agree with what a lot of the points what people have brought up already. To be honest, and I saw that the Columbus people were involved in this, and anything that they have a hand to, I'm on it. I think it probably, I don't know how long it took them to film this, but I reckon it would have taken a lot of shots because the lighting aspect of it, if they'd been too bright, it would have been burnt out, and if it had been too dark, it would have been too dark. So it had to be just right. And I really respect how the filming aspect of this and the lighting. I mean, it's just beautifully shot. Yeah, I mean,
I was thinking, Sin City, was that the last movie I think saw was shot in black and white?
yeah.
The only time it showed colour was The Blood, you know.
I like the whole aspect of the Pandora's box. I mean, you know, this could have been the prequel to Ghostlight. You know, I mean, I did.
Yeah.
I didn't get to give my thesis last week, but and you know what? Some of the speeches where it just turned like when it went God like, and it almost felt like I was watching The Tempest for a second.
Or Kafka.
It was just unbelievable, really. That's my opening thoughts. Was a really slick movie, and really well written as well.
But it was a bit disturbing, like, you know? I mean, really screwed up. But I was thinking at the end when he's lying on the rock naked, you know, when Prometheus brought fire down to man, Zeus sent a sort of eagle to eat his liver every night. That was his punishment, helping mankind. And the seagulls were sort of chewing away at sort of like the innards of Robert Pattinson. It was kind of, I don't know if that was a reference to something, but that was quite strange. But I was saying to Craig, when he actually saw the light, maybe there wasn't two sailors on that line. There wasn't two lighthouse keepers. There was only one guy faced with his conscience, which manifested as Willem Dafoe, you know. It was quite strange, actually.
And my opening thoughts are someone farted and I just had to take a second guess and I was like, did that actually just happen?
Yeah. Everything was left in. It was great, you know. But I thought I think William Dafoe, he played Van Gogh. Now he looks like Postman Rulon.
Right, thanks, guys. Right, over to me. Oh, where to start? To start with, this is an original movie. It was sort of loosely based on a H.P. Lovecraft tale. Then by the end of the making of the movie, it was just totally rewritten and it was a totally different movie. But also, there is another movie called The Lighthouse, which was made in 2016. And it's got very, very similar storyline and, you know, things happening in that one, but this is more well done and there's no connection between the two movies at all. So I don't know where the writers got their ideas from, but I'll tell you something. I was watching this and I saw a lot of, I mean, Tim might agree with me on this, I saw a lot of David Lynch influence with the imagery, with the weirdness. I mean, because we did a David Lynch movie last week, so that was still going around in my head, and I just could feel the David Lynch influence. I don't know if what's his name, Eggers, is into Lynch, but it's just such a powerhouse of a movie. Those two actors are frigging awesome. I mean, Willem Dafoe, he's been in the industry for forever. You know, he's every movie what comes out is in it, or you know, he's going back to the to the 70s onwards. But he's a brilliant actor, and so Patterson is proving himself. And the trouble is, he doesn't need to prove himself. He is a damn good actor. So you know, all these naysayers about Patterson and shouldn't be doing this role, should be doing that role. He's only a teen idol actor. Is a load of bollocks, to be honest. And these two actors, when it's a two-hander, they're on the screen, as Susan says, just chewing at the scenery. It's just awesome. And you say, to be honest, I don't know what the outcome of this movie was. Was it one man's madness? Was it was it just the surrounding of them being stuck there for so long, drinking turpentine and honey, which could send you around the bend, I suppose. But the imagery, the acting, a simple story as well of two men in a lighthouse. This could be produced and shown on in the theatre. I mean, this could be made into a play, you know. But yeah, I enjoyed this so much. I was surprised at this because it's the first time I've seen it, and God, I recommend it to anybody. So, favorite moments. Should I go to Jake? Because if I go to Jake, I'll mostly know what his favorite moment will be.
And there you are wrong. So
You don't know what I'm going to say.
from other films, I don't tend to like this sort of film, but this primarily because of the powerhousing of acting, the design, the costumes, the lighting, everything. Because these two people had the most brightest lights in film shining on them throughout the whole thing to give it that depth in black and white. But my favourite bit is you're gonna think, fuck's sake, is when he's trying to get in the lighthouse and William Defoe's upstairs. Then all of a sudden you see it's like, I don't know what to call it without getting blocked on YouTube. A certain substance start like leaking from the ceiling in front of him as William Defoe is upstairs beating his drum, as if it were. And
But was he?
That's true.
In the next thing he sees is a great big tentacle going across the thing.
That's true. Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah. But also at the beginning where William Defoe, well, not William Defoe technically, when Robert Pattinson is starting to crack and he's walking towards the scene, all those logs are floating out, and at the same time, William Defoe is staring manically in the most scariest performance, facial wise, I've seen from anyone, just staring into the light. That's when the audience sort of knows that, yeah, he's a fucking fruitcake. Because he erupts, and he's my favourite bit about this film. And I understand that the way they speak can be really hard to understand for, like, let's say some American audiences, even some English audiences. But that's how they spoke, and I thought it was really. I understood what most of them said, and it was good. It was a solid, good film, considering that massive lighthouse was a whole set that they made and cost a fortune. It was amazingly put together, and I really wish that I didn't have fucking computer difficulties, because I'd have happily have sat through the whole 2 hours of that. But what I did watch, I really, really, really enjoyed, and I will be going to watch it in full once I get a new computer, because it is such a good film.
Brilliant. So I was wrong then, because I thought you'd have said it was Patterson's bare ass that you would.
And I liked Robert Pattinson having a wank. There you go, Lee. Happy now?
Let's go over to Tim.
In a movie that's so bizarre, it's kind of hard to pick favorite moments, because I mean, it just kind of piles on after a while. It just gets more and more weird. I agree with you. I also kind of thought of Lynch at the time, but mainly not so much because of the weirdness, but because of the way that the scenes make you feel something, and that's how Lynch operates. He's always trying to make the audience feel a certain way about a certain thing or about a certain scene. So sometimes people say that doesn't make sense, because rather than focusing on narrative, he's focusing on these incidents, these bizarre incidences that make you feel uncomfortable. And this director does the same kind of thing. I don't think he's borrowing or heavily influenced by anybody, but I think it's the same approach to filmmaking. But yeah, it's just, again, once again, you have a film that's pretty ambiguous throughout, and it makes you wonder. My first thought, I mean, on the second time seeing it, was that, well, does it really mean anything? Is it just kind of just pointless, you know? But no, it does mean something. It does make you feel uncomfortable, and then it kind of dawned on me, this guy's mad. I mean, he's insane. He's what you call schizophrenic or something, and that's why he acts so bizarrely. And at first, you think he's the straight guy, because you've got funny Defoe, who's just over there, like you said, chewing scenery and acting like, you know, arg matey, all that kind of stuff. And this guy seems like the straight guy, but actually he's the one that's got the problems. And I think you know, looking back on it a second time, it is a very good, well-made film, and hopefully we'll get more from this director.
So that's him. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Let's go to Susan.
All right. Well, like I said, my favorite scenes were the ones where, uh, because Willem Dafoe was supposedly the old guard, when he was cursing and drawing up the sea god, and invoking the spirit of the sea, and then the second one where he is describing how he will be di- completely disemboweled, and then uh, die out. Uh, what is it called? What's the word in English? Spread thinly throughout the whole of the ocean, because the ocean will eat him and consume his whole reality. Oh my God, those two speeches were fucking amazing. They were so good. I took my breath away, and then the reactions by the two, and the fact that, and then the other thing that was incredible was when uh, Pattinson would say something, and then Defoe would flip it around and make it, or Defoe would say something, and then Pattinson would react, and then Defoe would flip it around and then turn it on Pattinson, and I mean, like those interplays were amazing, and that is, I mean, it was so incredibly creative, that kind of language, and yeah, it's a lot different from Pete's Dragon, which we also reviewed, about a guy who in a lighthouse, and this is so radically on the outside of the envelope. I mean, it makes no envelope to be seen. Um, I mean, everything from the lobster cage to the lighthouse, the light scenes where the light actually pummels young Tom and knocks him down the stairs, and ostensibly kills him. I just think, for like, the light is super. There's so many weird, magical, supernatural things happening. Anyway, that's my opinion, and those are my favorite moments. Back over to you, Lee.
Thanks, Susan. And we'll move straight over to Connor.
My favorite scene is probably I like. In fact, I kind of agree with Tim in that it's really difficult to pick favorite moments, because every moment has a charm to them, because it's just so weird. I liked David's reference about it being very Kafka. There is something incredibly Kafka about it, and his theory about it being one man has been stated before as a possibility, and it's highly likely that could be the case. But there's a lot of mythology involved in it, as well as mentioned. But there's also a theory that it's to do with heaven. There's like a heaven and hell aspects to it as well, that I read about, that I can't remember the exact details of, but that was one of the things that was bandied around when the movie first came out. For specific favorite moments, when Robert Pattinson kind of kills the seabird, was an incredibly impactful scene. One of the shots that I remember most, from the first time I watched it, and it's been about 9 months since I last saw it, was the one near the very beginning, when he kind of has his first hallucination, and he's submerged in water, and he goes under the water and he sees the mermaid coming towards him. That's incredible. Like, if you want facial acting as well as Willem Dafoe's incredible facial acting, Robert Pattinson doesn't do a bad job of himself with it. I also like the seabirds, the seagulls. Apart from the one that he kills, obviously, and the one that's in the oil, I think it is, that's been drowned in the oil. They're real. They're real seagulls. They're trained seagulls. Robert Eggers talked about how just how strange and
He taught one how to be killed.
no, the one that was the two that were killed were not real. They were,
Oh, all right then.
yeah. The others that were flying about, and the one that was pecking on the window and sitting in front of the door near the very beginning, they were real. That wasn't CGI. There was not a single bit. I believe there was not a single bit of CGI in this movie. Everything was practical effects, which just makes the effort even more incredible. It's the scenes when they're at the table, though, most of all, I think, where you get the character moments that really stand out. There's an alcoholism theme to it. Robert Pattinson is at the start of his sobriety, and how that kind of every conversation you get, he gets closer to tipping over the edge, and then he starts drinking and he really tips over the edge. It's just an incredible psychological thriller. It's intense. It kind of pushes the mind to the limit. And yeah, Robert Eggers is a fantastic director, and I can't wait to see what more he does. He wants to do a remake of Nosferatu, which has been talking about for 10 years. So that'd be interesting to see if that happens. And his next film is a Viking epic with Nicole Kidman and Alexander Skarsgård. So you can enjoy that as well.
No, that's a Viking epic. I'd never thought I'd hear Nicole Kidman's name with a Viking epic.
That's got a great. Willem Dafoe's going to be in it as well. It's got a great.
Oh, it's a classic already.
Yeah, it's already a classic. Yeah, this director is just going to go leaps and bounds. This is a truly phenomenal film with too many moments to count that are amazing. But Robert Pattinson, I gotta say, is the standout because Robert Pattinson came into this with an indie background. Like, yeah, his indie work was getting recognition, but this is probably his most well-known indie film, and the pressure of Twilight still was on his shoulders. And I don't think it was until Tenet this year that he really kind of managed to shed that a little bit, which was his first blockbuster. And now obviously he's got Batman coming up. But the Lighthouse, he just had so much pressure on his shoulders coming into it, having to prove himself, because this came out around the same time that he was also announced as the next Batman. And I think he's just completely knocked it out of the park. So on the basis that he's kind of operating from a more, I guess it's not a real disadvantage. It's just kind of something that you see if you kind of know Robert Pattinson's career compared to Willem Dafoe, who you already know is going to be standout, top job really. So I think he's one of my, not so much a favorite moment, but one of my favorite parts of the whole film, just because of what the pressure that he was under really as an actor.
Yeah, some good words there. So let's go to who we got left. Yes, we've got those two on the sofa. Go on then, Craig, David. I want to say Craig, David.
Sid. Sid.
I think what Connor said about Patterson, he's had a good run of movies, and I think he's now become, I don't want to say become a good actor, but I'm sure he always was a good actor, but it's like it's really put him on the map recently. I think he, and he's done a good job in this one. They both did. I mean, to duet with Willem Dafoe.
Dafoe,
I mean, that was just must have been really like a special bond they had.
It's funny how they looked very similar actually at times.
My favourite scenes are probably what Susan said about the whole. It was almost like waiting for Godot.
Yeah.
And with the whole Neptune and God-like
Prometheus,
stuff.
yeah.
And I like the bit where the siren is on the rocks and she starts screaming. That was kind of spooky.
Yeah.
I love anything with mermaids in movies anyway. But my ultimate favorite scene in this, I know it's really minimal and a bit weird, but there's a scene where I think it's in the lighthouse, and you just see there's like obviously it's a black and white shot, but there's a scene where it's just cogs and they're just turning really slowly, and you just hear the clink. It was so minimal, but it was such a beautiful shot.
Yeah. Like a Fritz Lang.
Yeah,
you know?
It's just so cool.
But yeah, I was just saying about. I think when Willem Dafoe's when the light comes out of his eyes, when he's kind of speaking to him, like, that was a spooky movie. But as Craig said, yeah, Waiting for Godot, very, and as Connor was saying, agreed with, very Kafkaesque. But also funny that the seagull is the announcement in The Birds, the Alfred Hitchcock, that impending doom is coming. Because it hits the door. If you remember, the seagull comes and hits the door. Tippi Hedren and the other lady, I can't remember the actress's name, but it's like the impending doom, and on the horizon there's a sort of there's a dusk coming in, so the birds are coming, But again, seagulls freak me out anyway. They're weird looking birds.
Remind me never to kill a seagull.
No, don't kill a seagull. But mermaids did used to lure sailors to the doom, by just showing the top off.
Because I went to a church called Zena Church in Cornwall, and there's a wooden throne inside the church, and there's an engraving of a mermaid in it, because apparently back hundreds of years ago she basically charmed
the sailors,
one of the earls of the town into the sea, never to be seen again. So yeah, it's very spooky.
Sirens.
But they say to get rid of a seagull, just if you stare at it in the eyes long enough, that freaks them out, and they leave you alone. They won't steal your chips.
There you go.
Right. There we go. You see, we're always giving some good information out on these cats.
On this channel, yes.
So let's think. There is a few funny scenes in these as well, especially the ones where he goes to empty the dunny, and he throws it into the wind. Of course, it all blows back into him. So he's covered in piss and shit. Also, as well, where Willem Dafoe is giving him hell for leather about raining fire from above and all like that. And then he just said, "Well, if you're going to be like that, yeah, I don't mind you cooking." Little bits of humour in it, just breaks up the darkness of the movie, because it is a dark movie. And the scene as well where he's beating the fighting, that he's beating William Dafoe's character up, and he's thrashing about on the floor, and he's like an octopus. And then all of a sudden he's back again. It's all imagery. It's just amazing. And then in the next minute, it's just, as Connor says, the scenes where they just sat at the table talking backwards and forwards to each other. But one what I wasn't expecting, it was early on where he says about do not kill a seabird, hits him right across I felt that where he hit him slapped him across the face. Wow. I think he must have done that for real. And then he said they're like that, and then next minute they were dancing and singing and slow dancing together as well. I thought, oh, we're not going to go down this route, are we? But no, we did. Then it was fighting again. It's just such a powerful movie. So, anybody else want to say anything more about this? Go on then, Jake. Go on.
There's a really weird shot at the beginning. I knew it was meant to be his rib cage. When William Dafoe's laying down, there's that angle behind him. I thought he had tits, and I got really confused. I'm like, what's going on? And then it clicked that, it's just the angle of the shot makes him look like he's got boobs. And I was like, yeah, that's my input. That's what I really wanted to talk about.
Also, as well, you've just reminded me that Patterson's character, he keeps spying on Defoe's character, but also as well, we find out near the end of the movie, Defoe's been writing in his logbook everything what Patterson's character's been up to. The fad finger shuffle in the shed and all this lot and all that. I'm thinking
there's a homoerotica in it.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a lot of
Like
that.
that.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I was gonna say that also he's going to recommend that Patterson character doesn't even get paid. That he's a horrible worker and he should be not paid.
yeah.
And that they don't really address that. It kind of shifts towards the end of the film at that point. But yeah, it's kind of it's pretty interesting.
So,
Again,
yes,
because you see Patterson looking at it like I'm working so hard, I'm doing all this work and blah blah blah. When what has he been doing all day really except wanking in the shed, whatever. So in other words, it's like he's not seeing reality. I mean, throughout we're not either because we've seen it through his eyes. But I had a question too. It was interesting that you have a lighthouse on a pretty barren, tiny little island out in the middle of the ocean somewhere. And I thought that seems kind of unlikely unless it was in a real danger to ships at that time. Because I mean, more often than not, you'd have a lighthouse on the edge of an island protecting, showing ships at sea that hey, there's land here. But it just seemed odd. I've never seen it in a situation where you have it on a tiny little rock where there's not even room for a settlement of people. So
There are a few like that on the East Coast, especially up here in the north.
hmm.
Those those and they are really
Well, again, this was
remote and really difficult to reach. But
also this was
the
200 years
sea was
ago,
the
supposedly.
sea
So.
was so intense. Like you could never land a ship or a boat or anything to even dock there. That was crazy. See, I didn't think that they'd missed the ship. I thought that the storm had the constant storm in the sea would kept them from being refreshed or whatever.
no, they got drunk and they overslept. Right. Anybody else before we go to final say and score? No. Right. Okay then. Final say and score. Let's go to Tim. Over to you.
Oh, once again, we've got an excellent film here that has many multiple ideas and things going on that there's really no way to pin it down as to what it is. I mean, you can read so many things into this, and whether they're or not is just how you interpret it, and that's brilliant filmmaking right there. I mean, if you can have a film that's so ambiguous that doesn't really have it has a straightforward plot, but you know what I mean, where there's so many questions left hanging, and you're just kind of like, what did I see here? What did I miss here? And it makes you feel compelled to go back and watch it again. And that's an excellent film. So I think I would give it a 10. I mean, I've seen it twice. It's not the kind of movie I'm going to want to watch every weekend or something, but it's a very well made, well directed piece of work, and I think it's very compelling, and it's also a bit frightening in a lot of ways because it is a psychological horror. So yeah, I give it a 10.
Brilliant. Jake.
I found it a very well realised and put together and researched film. So for that reason, I'm going to give it 9 five-finger shuffles out of 10.
Oh, you stole my ending. Let's go to Susan.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8.5. 8.5 mermaid fins out of 10. It was amazing, and the evocation of the sea gods. I got to tell you, if you need something to fire you up or to put fear of you, that would be the one place I'd go look for that.
Cool. Let's see who we've got now. Let's go to Craig and David.
This film, it's an excellent movie. It just shows how dark the psyche is sometimes. I mean, just what would have happened if I was by himself in isolation during lockdown in a lighthouse in a storm.
Oh God.
Yeah. And there's still the question as what was he by himself all along? And that's why this film is such a good film, because it makes you question just what I said,
Yeah.
and that's why it's a good movie. What do you think?
Yeah,
David?
I mean, you manifest all sorts of things. I think a lot of people, there'll not be the virus that will kill people. It'll be the fear of the virus or fear of the unknown. And I think that's what this movie puts across. Like, but yeah, it's a bit weird at times and a bit kind of lost me a bit. But starting near the end, I started to get the sort of feel of it, like what it was about. But really interesting. 10.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'll give it a 10.
Right, cool. And Connor.
I think I was thinking of the correct words to kind of describe this film, and I think there's something quite folktale-ish about it. It gets a 9 out of 10 from me, to be honest. I think it's an underrated film, and it was one of the best of last year by far. The only thing it missed out on was any Oscar award recognition, which it really should have got. Yeah, so 9 out of 10.
Cool. All right, down to me. I'm I'm gonna give it 10 fake wooden legs out of 10. Because nobody touched on that one, did they? With the fake leg, or did he have a wooden leg, or didn't he have a wooden leg? Who knows? But yeah, 10 out of 10 for me. I just thought it was an awesome movie. Something refreshing. Instead of all these superhero movies that we get inundated with, it's just a breath of fresh air, this movie. And go out and watch it, people out there. Fully recommend it. I'd like to thank you guys, Susan, Jake, Tim, David, Craig, and of course the taxman Connor, for joining me today talking about the Lighthouse.
And Sky the cat.
And Sky the cat. There he is.
And Paddy the cat.
That's a good
He's a
shot.
new member, Lee.
But you guys out there,
Don't delete him.
if you guys out there, if you like what we talked about, please leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of the movie. Give us some suggestions of what we could do in the future. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, and for the YouTube as well. Press the notification bell, and every time a video comes up, you'll get notified, and you can watch our videos to your heart's content. That's if you're in.
Only
That's if you're
0.5.
in, of course.
That movie put the fear of cod into me.
I recommend that you watch our videos while drinking turpentine and honey.
Yeah. Ooh, lovely.
And dripping it through
And
ceiling.
dripping it through the ceiling. Great.
So until next time, you guys, be safe, and we'll see you. Bye for now.